Thanks. Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, August 30th, and you are joining our weekly update. Today we have Jim Boudreau, our town administrator, and Superintendent Burkhead will join us next week. Probably not Monday, but probably Tuesday, Jim, I would think.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so that sounds good. So just a couple of updates. One very important one. Tomorrow is the 6th anniversary, well, not the 6th anniversary, but the 6th annual vigil for our overdose victims in Scituate. So there'll be a 5:45 a.m. vigil at the Scituate Lighthouse. It will be co-led by many different clergy members, and this is hosted by Scituate Facts. And we welcome everyone there to honor and remember those that we've lost to an overdose in our lives. So please join that very important event. And then this week's meetings, tonight we have conservation that starts at 5:30. Wednesday, we have the waterways that starts at 7 p.m. And then on Thursday, there's the Scituate Harbor Cultural District meeting that starts at 9 a.m. So please just check the listings on the town website for the different locations and different times. Some of them are Zoom, some of them are in live. So please take an opportunity to join if you can, or tune in to find out what's going on. And then lastly, just as a reminder, the school committee and the Board of Selectmen have set dates for interviews for 8 candidates who have brought their names forth for the vacancy that is on the school committee. This vacancy will be placed for temporarily until an election can be held in May. So on September 8th and September 9th, both starting at 6:30 p.m., we will be at the Scituate Senior Center jointly interviewing the candidates with the school committee. It is open to the public, so you are welcome to attend, but it will also be live streamed on Facebook. So we've got some terrific candidates that came forth, so please tune in. It's an important time to place somebody on the school committee so they can continue to do the very important business that they do. And then lastly, just before I turn it over to you, Jim, I just want to thank the DPW, the water department, and the public grounds for all the work that's going on around town. As I think all the residents can see, any of the major roads that we go down are either having pipes replaced or roads repaved. So I want to thank them. It's been a lot of work. And I also want to thank our residents for your continued patience as we continue to invest in our infrastructure, because unfortunately, summertime's our busiest time, but it's also the only time that we can get this work done. So just want to say thank you to all. A lot of work's been done. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Jim.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. We're going to start with our water main talk first. The water main construction on Old Oaken Bucket is in the finishing stages. That is the main itself. Once the contractor has finished tapping the main into Route 123, they will then start on the lateral. So that work will be ongoing for some time. Old Oaken Bucket will remain closed while that work's going on. Once they are finished in Old Oaken Bucket, the contract will move down to Brook Street. The Brook Street work goes from Front Street up to Tilden, and then for a little way down Tilden. And then when we're doing that, we will also start a lot of the smaller 2-inch water lines that will be replaced as part of this project. They're in various parts of town. We'll be posting those on our website prior to starting that work. But as Mara said, a lot of water work going on. It's going to make a big difference, we think, in the water quality as we go forward. Water demand was down again last week to 1.4 million gallons per day, down from about 1.5 million gallons the previous week. Those numbers remain low. The manganese levels in the reservoir continue to rise with the hot weather and the runoff. That can manifest itself in discolored water, so we ask people to keep an eye on that. The reservoirs are at plus 1.5. TAC factors are plus 3. Rainfall over the last 5 days is 1.2 and 3 inches. A lot of residents are asking, with all this water in the reservoir, why is there a water ban on? As I spoke to the board last week, the water ban that we are currently under is imposed by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is imposed at the start of May on all the towns within the water basin that we would draw our water from. So that has nothing to do with the amount of supply we have. It has to do with the aquifer and demand on the aquifer, and that what limits and puts in place those early water restrictions. So really has nothing to do with how much water we have. It has to do with the water in the aquifer and the district and the people that draw water from that. So that goes into effect May 1st, regardless of how much water we do have. Again, when you go by the treatment plant, you'll see some extra buildings down there. We're going into week 4 of the 7-week pilot study for our water treatment plant. Once it's done in the spring, they'll come back in the winter. They'll test the cold water, and then from that, designers will come up with a water treatment plan specifically designed to treat the water in the Scituate Reservoir. So we're pleased to see that going on, and we're looking to see what those results end up being. For COVID, mixed results for COVID. We had 17 new cases, which is down from 24 the previous week. However, our 14-day positivity rating went from 2.93 to 3.06. So a very small increase, but that's over a 14-day average. So those numbers can trend in the opposite directions. Good numbers on the case. We're hoping people continue to get vaccinated, continue to wear masks. The county number is also up to 3.55, while statewide, the positivity rate for the last 7 days was 2.75, which is down slightly from 2.81 of the previous week. So the numbers are going in different directions. We will continue to monitor them and keep an eye on them. The CDC has given final approval to the Pfizer vaccine. It is no longer under an emergency designation. It is a regularly approved, fully approved vaccine. We're expecting Moderna and Johnson & Johnson to get that approval shortly. So we want to continue to say to people, consult with your physician if you haven't been vaccinated, see if the vaccine is right for you. The vaccine does prevent serious illness if you do get COVID. As we've said, the numbers continue to be the same. 97% of new hospitalizations are people who are not vaccinated, and 99% of recent deaths are people who are not vaccinated. So the COVID vaccine is very effective in preventing serious illness or death if you do contract the COVID virus. So we urge you to talk to your physician and get out there if possible and get vaccinated. On First Parish Road, the work's continuing. You'll see they're putting in curbing across from the old gates. We're going to put the new sidewalk in. That sidewalk will come up from Central Park to the top of the hill, and then people will be able to cross over to the senior center, the food pantry and recreation, connecting the campus to Central Park housing, and of course the library. People will no longer have to walk down, cross Beaver Dam, cross First Parish, and then cross Cudworth to get up to the project. They'll be able to cross right at the top of the hill there at First Parish. We're also working on the sidewalk from the senior center down to the intersection where Ronnie Shones is, Country Way. That'll be completed shortly. Once that's all done, then the contractor will come back and do final paving. We're also working on the paving on Jefferson Lane, Washington Lane, Clifton Ave, and Thomas Ave. The leveling coast is down. The contractor is now raising the structures, and we'll do paving on those as soon as that structures are done and they're ready to go. Once the paving is done, as I keep telling people, we will be doing traffic enforcement in those areas. The last complaint we get after paving is just people are flying up here, so we will be looking to nip that in the bud right after start. And we'll be doing traffic enforcement along First Parish when we get that new pavement down. If you go over to the high school, the middle school, you'll see the Stephen Rink work is progressing. The company put down the asphalt last week, so it's looking pretty good. We urge people stay off that asphalt. With the hot weather, the asphalt is still soft, so going on there with skateboards or inline skates can damage that surface, which will have an impact when we put the final surface on. The asphalt has to sit for 14 to 21 days to cure. In the meantime, the board assemblies will be coming in on the 7th of September, and the contractor will assemble the boards and the structures around it. We are still on schedule to finish in September. We'll be cutting down the amount of space we're taking over there, giving most of the parking spaces back to the schools for next week, but we will be retaining access, and we have coordinated any construction down there with the schools to make sure there's no deliveries or trucks coming in or out during school opening and closing. So we're getting close to that, but please, when you see it, the surface is very inviting. I know people are going to want to get out and skate on it, but please stay off it until we finish that construction. It's going to be really nice when we get it done. In terms of our water use, well, 17A is progressing. The building is up, all the plumbing is in, the permanent power has been brought to the building, so we are now in the testing phase. We are hoping that we have the DEP down there sometime in September to sign off on that. We can bring that back online. It's 200 to 250,000 gallons of water a day that we'll be able to put back into the system. That takes a lot of pressure off our water treatment plant, and that water will all be cleaned and treated for iron and manganese. So we won't be putting those back into the system, which causes a lot of our black water, brown water problems. So that's going to be in good shape, and we're hoping to get that wrapped up soon. The golf course construction is also ongoing. You can see what the building looks like now. We also have the iron steel pipes in place where the deck will be. That is online for an October, November completion date. Brand new building, new clubhouse, new restaurant, new handicap accessibility, paving in the parking lot. The one other thing that we've been letting people know is when you look at the 18th green, you'll see a very large concrete structure. That is a retention basin, water from well 18B, which has been used to clean the green sand filter up there, will be pumped over to the golf course. It will settle in that tank to get the iron and manganese out, and then be pumped into the pond to use on the golf course for irrigation. That could be up to 10,000 gallons a day that we could be putting over there to use on the golf course rather than just pumping it away to waste. So that'll also be a good thing. That work is ongoing. If you get on the Hummerock, you'll see the new fire station is taking place. The quarters is up for the outside, the exterior. We expect the bay to start construction this week. That is scheduled to be done also in the fall, so we can bring the trucks in from up on Fourth Cliff and get them back out of the cold when that comes. That'll be done this fall. That had started off as just a renovation project, and then in the March 2018 storm, that building flooded, which means we now had to bring it into code for the floodplain. So it's a much larger project than we originally started with, but it'll be great when it's done. The public, I think, will enjoy it and will give us more flexibility in staffing Hummerock, especially during storm events. Lifeguards are now off all the beaches with the exception of Hummerock. They will be in Hummerock until September 6th, but all other beaches as of yesterday will no longer have lifeguards. Most of our lifeguards, unfortunately, for us have gone back to college, but that leaves us short on having people on the beaches. Two more updates. Tomorrow at 10:30, there will be a press conference down at the Harbor Masters office on Cole Parkway. Congressman Lynch and Congressman Keating will be joining local officials to protest the Coast Guard's proposed closing of the Scituate Seasonal Coast Guard Station. We did get some numbers from the Coast Guard. The 29-foot boat, which is currently stationed in Scituate, if they move that to Hull and we call them in a 4-foot sea, it will take that 29-foot boat 78 minutes to get to Scituate. That's just unacceptable, and we will do all we can to make sure that that boat stays exactly where it is in Scituate Harbor for the safety of our residents and the safety of all the residents of boaters on the South Shore. Finally, I know a lot of people out there don't want to hear this, but teachers will be reporting back to the buildings this week in preparation for the new school year. Students go back in the building on September 8th, which is next Wednesday. As Mrs. Curran said, we will be joined by Superintendent Burkhead probably next Tuesday, with Monday being the holiday, and he will now be joining us going forward, giving us weekly updates on what's going on in the Scituate Public Schools. So good luck to the teachers next week, and we'll see the students back next week. And that's what I have for today.
Great, thanks, Jim. I do have a question for you, Jim. Maybe you can answer. At what point, because I do get this asked by many residents, at what point do you think you and Drew and the Board of Health will be taking a look at any type of mask requirement in public buildings?
Yeah, we're going to keep looking at the numbers more. Right now, 17 out of 18,000 residents. It's not a huge number. That number is going down. The percentage is going up. So we're going to have to see really a continued increase in that number before we would start talking about that. The Board of Health is keeping a close look at it. I know the school committee is going to discuss it, but that decision has now been taken out of their hands as the state has put a mandate in place. But right now, the numbers don't support it. There are no other communities in the South Shore, with the exception of Plymouth, that currently have a mask mandate for public buildings. So it's really going to be a continued trending in the wrong direction for these numbers before we would do that. I do see when I'm out and about now, a lot more people wearing masks. That is entirely up to people. If you don't feel safe or you want to be more protected, you should wear a mask yourself. But we would really need to see numbers continuing to trend in the wrong direction before we would come back with a mask mandate for public buildings.
Okay, great. I just wanted to ask that on behalf of the public. I appreciate that, Jim. And great news about well 17A. So that's moving along. So great for our water supply. So thanks for that as well. That's all I have. I don't have anything additional. Just remember the opioid vigil tomorrow at 5 a.m. If you're up that early, probably be a beautiful sunrise. And, thank you, everyone, and have a great week.